This is Clem with Clem's Organic Gardens in Brevard, North Carolina. Today is July 4th, 2018. Quick follow-up with the potato planting and the covering of the potato pieces. I'm going through the field again with Cultipacker to flatten those hills a little bit. So I was using my what I call a ridge cultivator, kind of basically a hiller, to cover the potato pieces with soil, and this is what the result is. And that's a little higher than, a little more, too much of a hill for my tastes. At least I think there could be advantages to be had by having not quite so high a hill. It is, you kind of want to move a good bit of soil and make a hill to make sure you cover the potatoes. But so now I'm going over and trying to flatten those rows out, and this is what it looks like when I'm flattening them out a little bit. So I want the, I want the potatoes to definitely be covered, but they only have to be covered a little bit. I think the advantage this will give me when those potatoes come up. Get my finger in here. Those potatoes come up. It'll be easier to hill them over with the implements that I have, versus if they're coming up in a higher ridge. It's just not going to be as easy to hill up over them. And I'll have a number of hilling passes that are progressively higher hills, but I think it'll be easier with a flatter thing to start with. And another factor is that my rows are not necessarily perfectly straight, so this hill here, or these two hills, they're not necessarily exactly over top of the where the potatoes are, and so I think flattening them out a little bit will give me a little more leeway. Once they sprout up, I'll be able to drive right over top of the rows where the potatoes actually are and get them hilled just exactly right. And I think having them flatter will make that easier. This is what I'm using. This is a Dunham double cultipacker. I've not been using it a lot lately, but it's working for this. So you can see I have it set up with a boom pole, because if I just went straight through with this, it would just completely flatten those hills out into a pancake and probably expose the potatoes. So I'm just holding it up a little bit. I'm kind of adjusting as I go, and to kind of estimate the degree of flattening that I want to happen. And this is, I use this in various, even when I'm using this Cultipacker for normal purposes, it's handy to have this here to lift it up to go around corners, or at the end of the rows, and sometimes it does. I've used this to make raised beds and kind of flatten out my raised beds, and sometimes it'll do that same thing. It'll completely get bogged down, and it's nice to have that there to pick it up. Because once you're in the middle of the field with that thing and it's stuck, then it's a big pain. But I'm gonna try to show this. I lost my camera person, so this might be a little funky, but we're gonna see what happens here. hopefully you kind of get the idea. That was probably not the best shot in the world, but it's a pretty simple idea. And yeah, I think it'll work. I'll maybe do a follow-up to see what the results are.